Hello everybody, I'm Richard Gon of Work to Live podcast version. So this time, as title shows, Japanese worship white people and look down on and persecute Asian people, about which I'd like to tell you some stories. So, as title shows, this people in this country worship white people and white people. So you may come up with a question like, is that true? So because, there are many, how should I say, there are many there are many types of white people. So I'm not saying that, like, some white people are kind and other white people are mean, and some white people are extroverted, but while other white people are introverted, and I'm introverted white person, which is not what I'm talking about. And so I'd like you if you are extroverted, but I'd like you if you are introverted. But which one is fine for me. So in this topic, in this episode, what I'd like you to confirm at first is that, for example, I said there are many types, or there are many kinds of white people, but actually, some white people are from the United States of America, and other white people are from, for example, some other white people are British or Brits or Britons, and while I don't know whether it's possible to British people Brits or Britons, because it's bad to call Japanese people Jap, so it's stuff like that. And some white people live in Germany, and other white people live in Austria, speaking German language as their own mother tongue, and other white people living, for example, so Ukraine, where they feel some fears against the Russian soldiers, and some white people live in, for example, Russia, and who may not know anything about Ukraine or Ukrainian people. And there are some. I'm sorry. So let me finish the introduction here. So cutting to the chase. There are many white people, and some white people are richer than Japanese people, and other white people are poorer than Japanese people. So, for example, in the case of white people, in the case of the countries of white people, for example, I don't know whether it's anyway. So, Estonia and Latvia and Lithuania are not as rich as my country, for example. They are just examples. And in the case of other countries, comparing Poland and Japan, maybe Japan is richer in terms of per capita income. How should I say, the income every person earns, for example. So, like which, there are many types of white people, and some white people are richer than Japanese people, or standard Japanese people, and other white people are poorer than standard Japanese people. But these people in this country worship white people as white people in the same category, which means, for example, if you are a French person, if you come to my country for example, as a university student, you can become a popular student, and for example, in or among boys and among other university girls. And if you are, for example, American person who is a American white person, and if you come to this country as for example, as an office worker, for example, so you may get you can become a popular employee. You can become a popular employee among other male colleagues and female colleagues, and maybe particularly you can become popular especially among female colleagues in such a case. And if you are, for example, if you are German student coming into a Japanese junior high school or high school, I think you can become a popular student, or maybe in terms of school guys, or in terms of school heart, you that white person might be envied, or maybe envied by other boys, other Japanese boys, I mean, in such a case. So like which, but in such a case, maybe Japanese girls come to like that German boy, for example. This, and all of them are hypothetical situations I have just come up with. But actually, so what should I say? And you may think like, for example, so what if you are from, for example, Ukraine, or what if you are from, for example, so Estonia, or what if you are from Poland, or any, there are many white countries, white countries which are not so as rich as my country, or which are not as rich South Korea, which as not rich as South Korea. So in such a case, what should you do is, there's nothing you can do, because if you are born as white people, you are white people until you die. So I was born as a Japanese Asian person, which is why I'm until I die, I'm Japanese Asian person. Anyway, so in such a case, in such like, if, for example, if you're a person who is from, for example, for any country, it's fine. For example, in the case of Ukrainian boy, you can become popular in my country. So maybe girls will come to love that Ukrainian boy, and but maybe Japanese boy may feel envy, or Japanese boys may feel jealous of that Ukrainian boy. So the situation is stuff like that. And if you're, for example, if you are from, for example, Belarus, and if you're Belarusian boy, for example, and coming to Japanese university, that Belarusian boy can become popular among girl students, and maybe among boy students in the university, for example. So such a thing happens, and this is so. Let me change the topics. Let me change the topic here. So maybe days before, or weeks before, a Vietnamese, a news said that there was a Vietnamese person who had been buried in his workplace for some years, which is why according to that news, that Vietnamese person came back to his own country. I don't remember, well, I don't know the details of that case, but actually in his case, he lived in a western part of this country. So so I live in eastern part of this country, and maybe that case happened in the western part of this country. So that case happened in a western part of this country. So I don't know much about such cases, but such case is there was a Vietnamese person who was working like an immigrant in this country, and he had been bullied or persecuted by other Japanese colleagues. Such things happen in this country, because Japanese people worship white people, but Japanese people look down on Japanese people hate colored people, which is why such things happen. So I don't. So maybe if that Vietnamese person was a white person, he wouldn't have been bullied. Let me tell you again. If that Vietnamese person had been a white person or Caucasian person, he would not have been bullied, or he would not have suffered from being bullied or being persecuted. So the situation of this country is stuff like that. colored people are hated or bullied or segregated or discriminated, and which is why, if you're a white person, coming into or immigrating into this country, you are fine because you are white. You are fortunately for this country, you are born as white people. But if you are colored people like I am, so in such a case, unfortunately to this country, you shouldn't come to this country, stuff like that. So, but maybe intelligent people in this country do not bully or do not persecute those colored people, because smart people do not do such things openly. Maybe I don't know much about. I don't know the feelings of others. I can't read the minds of other people. I don't have such a clairvoyant ability, or I don't have such a clairvoyance. Anyway, so what I'd like you to know this time is that white people are safe in this country. So there was such a news, or there was such a case, and that case was about a Vietnamese person who had been bullied or who had been persecuted. So such a persecution case, I don't know whether such a persecution case are rare or not, but actually maybe there are many. I have heard there are many Vietnamese people coming into my country who had been bullied or persecuted or bullied, persecuted, or assaulted or attacked violently by some Vietnamese people become some there are many Vietnamese people who lived in this country who had been victims of physical violences and psychological violences, stuff like that. So such a case happens if you are colored people, but actually if you are white people, you are fine. You can freely come into this country, which is what I'd like you to know this time. So anyway, so I don't know how you are going to feel about such a situation of this country, but actually this time I created this episode to tell you that this country is such a country, and this country, the situation in this country is stuff like that. So at last, I thought to tell you this, but this is a case to other Asian countries, which means So what I'm going to tell you is that the case is that is not Asian people. So white people are worshipped, and the colored people are segregated in other Asian countries than this country. So this is a fact, because there was a case that this is a case of Thailand, but there was a company which created a commercial movie, and according to that commercial movie, black person or black woman washed her own body, and who turned out to become a white person or white woman. So it's like I will tell you again the content of that commercial movie. So there was a black woman who appeared to the screen, and she washed her own body, and she turned out to become a white person. That is an outright racial segregation, because that commercial movie shows that black person is a dirty and white person is white person is clean. So that is an outright racial segregation. So such a case happens in Asian countries, and another case is that maybe this is a Republic of Korea or South Korea, and it's like there was I have seen in a movie, and according to that movie, I'm as long as I can remember, there was an Asian colored person, and who looked having lost his own way, and he's a man, and he was walking, or he was wandering in a busy street, maybe, and according to that movie, as long as I can remember, and he talks to other people, other Korean passers-by, but nobody responds. But if there was a, but if he was, so there was another version is that there was a white man and white person and who is wandering, looking having lost his own way, and he talks to other passers-by, other Korean passers-by, and some people helps that white person. So and according to that video, the video said there's a racial segregation between the colors and the white people, and white people are worshipped, stuff like that. So such a thing happens. White people are worshipped, or white people are, how should I say? White people are respected. I said worshipped, so but if you do not know the meaning of worship, so respected. White people are respected is a better understanding for you, maybe if you are not native speakers of English languages, for example. And this is a case of my country, because I live in Japan, so I know a lot about this country. And in the case of this country, I know a university student who is from an Eastern European country. He is from maybe he is from an Eastern European country, and he was, I heard that he was really popular among other students or other peers, and I have seen him, and he was really handsome, or he was really good looking, which is why I could understand that he became popular, because he looked clean, or he looked handsome, or he looked cool. But he was from poorer countries than this country. So these are, so at last I introduced some cases of Asian countries, including my country. So those cases are about racial segregations, in which Caucasian people or white people are respected or revered, and the colored people are looked down on, or segregated, or sometimes ignored. So there was such racially segregating atmospheres in Asian countries. Please make sure this point. And by the way, so I said worship, but some people might have misunderstood. I said worship, but the difference is like worship means to revere or to respect, and worship, well, worship is verb or noun, and worship is a ship for battling or combating against other worships or enemies. Please understand the difference between worship and worship. Well, worship is worship is a ship for wars. Please understand this point. So that's it. Thank you very much for your listening. See you.